Welcome back, my gorgeous, good-looking friends. Happy 2025. Can you believe we barely kicked off the year? And here's Meghan Markle wasting no time shoving her rictus grin down our throats, starting from January 1. Today, we're deep diving into the abyss that is Meghan's new Instagram account and the Netflix trailer for With Love, Meghan. So get comfy because we're about to embark on a scathing tour through Meghan's desperate grab at relevancy. I'm going to be showcasing her hypocrisy, her lies, and utter lack of authenticity. This episode is all about desperation and her being completely out of touch, especially when Americans are out there struggling just to keep food on the table and a roof over their heads. And then later on, we'll shift gears to a more serious matter in the UK, where King Charles is being called upon to step up. All this and more on the Royal Grift. This is your daily dose of all things royal. We begin with this Instagram account. 2 years in the making to put up one post that screams, it's all about Meghan, because only Meghan could be so self-absorbed. Let's talk about her first post, shall we? It's a video of Meghan running down a beach barefoot in all white, writing 2025 in the sand. Oh, how original and symbolic, Meghan. But let's get real. Wasn't it just this year we saw Catherine running on the beach with her family after finishing her chemotherapy? That was a moment of genuine joy, a family celebration of health and togetherness. Meghan's, on the other hand, feels like a staged photo shoot for her vanity project, which in fact it was, since she hired Jake Rosenberg to go ahead and do it for her. And those comments, of course, turned off because Meghan can't handle any type of critique. Very thin-skinned for someone who claims to be all about openness and social justice and being a strong woman. And let's for a moment dissect her title, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, noting the missing the. In royal circles, that can signify a divorce. Is this her way of hinting at her marital status or just another calculated move to keep people talking? Her Instagram feels like a desperate grab for attention, completely tone deaf to the real struggles people are facing. You're launching your lifestyle brand while people are worrying about the next meal. Bravo, Meghan. The world is on fire, and here you are wasting money broadcasting these stupid posts that are so out of touch with reality. No wonder why people just are so turned off by seeing your smug-looking face. The problem the public has with all of this is the fact that it's so manufactured and staged. There's no authenticity or anything organic about it. The fact that money was put into making this organic or trying to portray that it's authentic is why this is failing so badly. Something as simple as just running carefree on the beach, Meghan couldn't even do. The multiple 2025s written in the sand suggest several takes until she got it just right. Authenticity? Not in Meghan's vocabulary. It's all about the curated image, the polished perfection that screams, literally, I'm trying too hard. And this is what turns so many people off. Stop trying to be something you're not. You're trying to portray that you are this fun, carefree, joyful human being when everything you have done over the past 6 years have been anything but that. Meghan has come full circle, doing what she had set out to do all along, which was become an Instagram influencer.
But I will be making some good money soon, as I am an influencer on Instagram. Which reminds me, I need to do my hourly post of me, just being me. Hold on. Hey everybody, I am here at the Chino bus stop giving career advice to this gentleman who is on his way downtown LA for a job interview. Let's all wish this dreamer luck in achieving the American dream. Follow back to see more ways on how I make this world a better place. Love you, bitches.
Why did you lie just now?
It's not lying. It is called storytelling and sharing my truth and how I want people to see my world. Don't you know? The majority of influencers make up stories all the time to persuade people to follow them. How else am I going to get the views and huge following to make millions? I started 6 months ago, and I already have over 50 followers.
Oh, 50 followers? What if I told you that I have an opportunity for you to become the influencer of all influencers? Would you want to hear more about it?
Oh my God, of course I would be interested. I would do anything to be more famous than Beyonce.
All right.
Now, there's nothing wrong with that, especially if you can't find other means of making money. I do think that Meghan had no other choice. In fact, I do believe that Netflix might have pushed her to do it because she needed to start promoting this lifestyle brand in order to get this show off the ground. I don't think she really wanted to do it because what it means now is that she is just like everyone else who can open an account on Instagram and become an influencer. It also means that Meghan can be shown the same kindness that her and her squad had shown so many of us to get us deplatformed and demonetized. Now, I am not suggesting in any way to go and report the account and spam it. But if you do feel that there is a level of fraud and spamming or harassment or racism, go ahead and use your voice and share that with Instagram. Okay, now on to this trailer for With Love, Meghan. Oh, the irony. Meghan playing this domestic goddess in not even her own Olive Garden castle, showing us that she's baking and gardening. But when you look at this trailer, it is all so hollow. Meghan talks about elevating the ordinary. But what's ordinary about any of this? Her concept of so-called elevation is putting vegetables on a tray and arranging it in such a way, or scooping ice cream onto her stinky homemade jam with a sprig of mint. That's not elevation. That's what you call a scam, taking the audience for pure fools. The Sidley twins made me laugh with this clip. I hope they don't mind that I'm showing you it.
Is it good? I mean, what can I say? You put, your strawberry jam and you combined vanilla ice cream. It's okay. Whatever. Wait a second. I think there's something missing. What are you talking about? Watch this. Here's some mint. Now try it. Oh my God, you just elevated that ice cream.
In this very short but painful clip, Meghan babbles on again about pursuing joy. But the only joy here that I see is her self-promotion. Her tips and tricks, honestly, everything about her is just laughably basic. Didn't Martha Stewart do something like this decades ago, but better because she has experience? There's absolutely no authenticity, no warmth. It's like watching a commercial for a lifestyle that, for the majority of the audience, they can't afford, especially not now when people are struggling to make ends meet. But more importantly, where's the authenticity? She speaks loudly about being a Black woman, yet there's zero evidence of her embracing her roots. Where's Doria, her Black mother, in all of this? Nowhere to be seen, of course, because this is all about Meghan, not her heritage and who she is. And without fail, even in this small clip, Meghan's hypocrisy shines through. She's supposed to be this advocate for social issues, yet where's the evidence of any of that in her content? Meghan's more interested in grifting and crafting this false image than making any type of real impact. And don't even get me started about these invisible children. Not a single frame includes Archie or little Betty, showcasing just how self-centered this whole endeavor is. It's all Meghan, all the damn time. And Meghan never fails to knock off someone else's idea and cheapen it. Here, the queen of copy-paste has now taken the Marchioness of Bath's entire cooking show vibe, from the picturesque estate setting to the faux homely charm, but without any of the grace or originality. Everything about Meghan is like the cheap knockoff that you could find on Canal Street. And now she's moved on to beekeeping, following Catherine's footsteps, but not in the heartfelt, down-to-earth way Catherine does it. Catherine's out there genuinely caring for her bees, promoting environmental awareness with real tangible impact. Meanwhile, Meghan's version? It's just another staged photo op, complete with perfect hair and makeup, looking like she's more interested in the aesthetics of beekeeping than the actual bees. Like, I'm not sure what Meghan's trying to harvest here. I mean, if she's trying to harvest credibility, harvesting honey is not going to do it. And then when you're looking at how much this is going to be mocked, I mean, maybe this is the benefit of having Meghan Markle in our lives, is because she does provide us a source of comedy relief, considering all the other shit that's going on in the world at this time. But the problem here is that this woman is serious. She really thinks that what she's putting out into the world is a service to everybody. I mean, come on, Meghan. Do better. Beekeeping without bee love and cooking without soul? Literally, that's Meghan for you in a nutshell. I think the one thing that makes this worth following and talking about are the comments and what people are saying online. I can't tell you, I've laughed so much in the last 24 hours that I just want to share with you some of the things that people are saying about this train wreck that we're about to see on January 15th. Let's start with one of the biggest accounts on X, Cat Turd, with 3.3 million followers. He writes, "I'd rather eat raw chicken off a toilet seat in a dive bar in Mexico than watch 5 minutes of this cringe." With 1.5 million views and almost 5,000 comments of similar sentiments. Here's some of them. Clara Winslow says, "I would rather watch paint dry while sitting on a toilet made of horns and on fire." Candid Johnny says, "I'd rather slide headfirst down a slide lined with razor blades into a pool of lemon juice than watch this crap." The comments over there are just brutal. Then we have from Lean Meme Machine, who always captures the clownery of this couple. Seriously, Harry and Meghan are like cartoon characters at this point. Nothing can be taken seriously. When you go and you look at the actual trailer itself and the ratio of people who like it versus dislike it, already gives an indication that this is going to fail, like everything else. If Meghan thinks that this little series that she's put together is going to make all of us forget the things that she has said and done over the past 6 years, she's sorely mistaken. This isn't a love story or about friendship and empathy and joy. It's a tale of deceit, of trying too hard, of copying without understanding, and of a disconnect so vast it could fill the Pacific Ocean. And to give it the name With Love Meghan, how much more fake can you get? More like With Fraud Meghan should have been more appropriate. Now, of course, Meghan's PR as well as Netflix PR is going to make sure that this show comes across as if it's some type of success. But just know that the whole entire world is so sick and tired of this woman, and there's nothing that she can do at this moment aside from apologize and go away for a little bit to make this any better. The constant need to keep her face in the media is just making more and more people pissed off. And I think by kicking off the year, starting off by making it all about her and forcing herself again, is going to backfire. This show is not going to be successful. In fact, already before it even is aired, people don't want to watch it. But Hollywood and Netflix don't really care to read the room. They want to continue to keep pushing these satanic people down our throats because they have an agenda to pursue. But what they're failing to realize is that it's exposing them more, thus causing people to lose trust as well as not listen to the things that they want to push onto us, which I think is a good thing. I think it's a good thing that Meghan Markle has exposed and opened our eyes to so much of the evil that has been going on in that world. But speaking of evil, let's move over to the last story in this video about King Charles being called to dissolve Parliament, a demand put forth by none other than Elon Musk. This isn't about politics. This is about morality and a deep-seated rot in the British system.
But except that if we extrapolate nationally, the Jay report on Rotherham and other reports on Telford and Oxford, there appear to have been upwards of 250,000 young white girls raped in this century, very largely by Muslim men. And given these girls are usually raped several times a day for years, so, my lords, what is the government's answer to the Chief Constable of Northumbria, who has just said that there is every likelihood that these grooming gangs are operating in every one of our major cities? So, my lords, what is the government doing to prosecute those in authority who turned a blind eye to all this because they were afraid of being Islamophobic and so on? And what is it doing to compensate and help these victims mentally?
My lords, I really refute the fact that the government is turning a blind eye to those in authority. Sorry, that those in authority are turning a blind eye to this. Noble lords from across the House have outlined the various child sexual abuse perpetrations in various parts of the country. And my lords, one thing we can say above all else is what these people target is vulnerability. It's not specific to race, creed or colour, it's vulnerability.
One that's left thousands of young girls vulnerable to the heinous acts and still ongoing of these grooming gangs. And let's call them what they really are. They are graping gangs. Elon Musk has taken to social media with a clarion call for King Charles to use his royal prerogative to dissolve Parliament and force a new general election. And I think that would be the smartest thing to do because it's not only these grooming gangs, it's also everything else that Keir Starmer has failed to deliver on. He's making the people of the UK suffer. Elon Musk's demand is not just a critique, it's a condemnation of the current government's handling, or rather mishandling and cover-up of what Musk calls the worst mass crime in the history of Britain. But not as horrific as the over 500,000 missing migrant children that we have here in the United States that YouTube doesn't like anyone talking about because they are supporting and protecting the elite. But in any case, in Rotterdam alone, over 16 years, an estimated 1,400 children were victims of these gangs. And this isn't the only isolated incident. Similar patterns have emerged in Rochdale, Oldham, and beyond. Yet, during Keir Starmer's tenure as Director of Public Prosecutions from 2008 to 2013, there was a palpable failure to bring these predators to justice, leaving victims and their families in despair. I'd like to just interject to keep these conversations from being suppressed. Please go ahead and hit that like button to help with the algorithm. Every little bit helps. Musk pointed fingers at Starmer, suggesting complicity in these failures due to a misguided sense of political correctness or fear of racial bias accusations. But Starmer isn't the only one under scrutiny. Safeguarding Minister Jess Phillips has also been called out for not advocating for a Home Office-led inquiry into the Oldham scandal, with Musk going as far to say she deserves to be in prison for her inaction. On the other side of the aisle, Tory leader Kemi Badenoch has echoed the call for a full national inquiry, describing it as long overdue. I think the most shameful thing about this whole situation is not the fact that all of a sudden now this is a shock that this has been going on. It's more of these politicians knew that this had been happening over so many years, and they chose to look the other way and allow it to continue and exist and fester within these communities. All because they were fearful to admit that their policies on immigration were bad, as well as the demographic and concentration of these very same people who could threaten their position within government. They all stayed silent. And this is why this was happening. And then when we saw over the summer, when we had these riots and people were outraged that you have this radicalized group of people who have come in and have been really hurting the community, they chose to silence the ones that were speaking out about the truth over the people who were committing these crimes, all to protect themselves. Because that's what it really boils down to, is protecting themselves. And instead of the media being the ones to hold these politicians to account, they all acted as propaganda arms for these politicians to cover up and lie and suppress the truth. And this is why now all of a sudden Elon Musk gets wind of it, and he's shocked that this has been going on for decades. This scandal has not only left a scar on the UK, but has also fueled a public demand for accountability. The dissatisfaction right now is palpable. Some speculate that if elections were held today, Labour could lose up to 200 seats. a testament to the public's loss of faith in the current political leadership. Well, whose fault is that? If they just did the right thing, we wouldn't be in this situation. Musk's call for King Charles to step in is more than just a tweet or post. It's almost as if he is the voice of this nation crying out saying, we need something done because look at what our government has been doing and allowing to happen. However, we must remember that this is a very delicate situation because under the UK's constitutional monarch, the power to dissolve Parliament lies with the Prime Minister, not the King. Does anybody really think Keir Starmer will relinquish his power all for the good of the country? Absolutely not. He's going to do his best to hold on to that power. The only thing that I could see happening is maybe Charles having a private conversation behind closed doors and giving him the suggestion that maybe he should dissolve Parliament. And those conversations, whatever they may be, will remain private, thus keeping the king politically neutral. But that's the most that he could do for the people of Great Britain. Not sit back and do nothing. But on the other hand, Keir Starmer, as well as Charles, are both globalists and support this WEF agenda and Agenda 2030. And clearly, the United Kingdom is on that path towards this one world government. Like, I can't even believe that this has become a debate when we're talking about humanity and what has been going on and the atrocities happening to these women and young girls. This demand that Elon is making is not about getting into politics and interfering with the UK government and the mechanics of governance, but it's more about highlighting the urgency for change, for justice for these people who have been suffering, and for a government that truly serves and protects its people, because right now, that's not what is happening under the watch of Keir Starmer and King Charles. As an American observing what's happening in the UK under Keir Starmer, you currently have what we had under the Biden administration, a two-tier justice system that does not serve its people. And if there is a way for you to get rid of this man and put someone in who is for the people, you guys have to make more noise. It's only going to get worse if people just choose to sit back and stay silent. The current government is not there helping anybody aside from themselves. Now, for those that want to continue on the path that the royal family does stay out of politics and they remain apolitical and don't get involved in this kind of stuff, well, let's shift our attention to what do they do? They bring visibility to the charities that they support. And I don't recall any charity that the royal family supports in trying to stop these gangs from grooming these girls. Not that I can recall. The only one that I think is close to supporting women is Queen Camilla in her work that she does with domestic violence and abuse of women. I think there needs to be visibility as opposed to like Sophie supporting these charities off in Ukraine and supporting women over there, perhaps turn inward, helping domestically one of those 250,000 girls who have been affected by this atrocity and travesty of these grooming gangs. That's a thought. You know, the gravity of this situation cannot be overstated. It is a stark reminder of the failures at the highest level of governance and calls into question the integrity of those in power. This isn't just about dissolving Parliament. It's about dissolving the complacency, the cover-ups, and the corruption that have allowed such atrocities to exist and continue. Do I think Charles will react and do anything? I don't think so, unless the noise continues and it keeps getting louder. Only then I do believe that the institution will advise Charles on what he should do. I think for the time being, it's going to be business as usual, keeping that upper stiff lip and remaining silent. I do think, though, if this was a situation where this affected King Charles's personal interests, whether it be from a land or property perspective or asset perspective, some type of action would be taken. It's a frustrating thing because you have not only the king, but also the prime minister who is on board with supporting this Agenda 2030. And they are full steam ahead at selling out the British people. We have seen they clearly don't care about your sovereignty or your personal freedom and rights. It's a hard pill to swallow, but we all have been witnessing it in real time. I think the most important thing for all of us to remember is that we need to stay in faith. And we need to put God first in order to help us through these very tricky and difficult times, having to deal with all this evil surrounding us, because that's exactly what it is. I think in this sense, the call for King Charles to dissolve Parliament by Elon Musk is symbolic, reflecting a deep-seated frustration with the political establishment and a demand for a reset in how child protection and justice are administered in the UK. The pressure right now, in what I see needs to continue, is on the monarchy, the government, and the public to come face to face and address this dark chapter with the seriousness that it deserves, instead of the media having to sweep it under the rug and have it continue in order to protect these politicians and remain in power. Something has to change if we want this to stop. But what do you guys think? I would love to know your thoughts, not only on this, but also on the train wreck that we know as Meghan Markle. Definitely leave your thoughts below. As always, I will be back with more content, but until then, please be safe, and I will talk to you later. Bye!
Such a fraud.